Hello again, friends, and welcome. Welcome back, I should say, to another segment here on Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. I've been away for a little bit, been on a little bit of a hiatus, been kind of busy around here. I've been planning some parties, hosted an American Wine Society event here at the house, and just been overall busy with social events and lots of stuff on the calendar. So I've been able to post some things, but I haven't had the chance to sit down and have a little chat with you. I actually even missed my own anniversary of May 26th, 2021, when I started doing these segments. So we're well into our fourth year now, so we'll have to have some cheers and a toast to that. I'm also approaching, I think this is my 151st video that I'm presenting in that time, and this is probably the longest stretch that I had not been on the air. So with all that said, I think it's time for a little bit of a toast. And we're doing that toast tonight with a little Spanish cava. The cava itself is not important, but I do want to mark heading into my 5th year of sharing all these wonderful wine and spirits secrets with you. So here's to you. Cheers. And it's time for Doc G to get back in business here. So what I'd like to do tonight, I checked the record, so to speak, and realized that my last segment with you was back in early April. And at that point, I had said that I would like to do a cocktail of the month with you. Well, unfortunately, we did that back then. Haven't had the chance, as I explained to you. I've been a little bit busy, a little bit occupied. So the hiatus has ended. And tonight, for a bonus, since we didn't do one in May, and we're now into June, I have 2 cocktails to share with you tonight. And both of them are cocktails that I discovered when my wife and I were out at dinner at local restaurants. So with that said, I'm going to start with the first one. After I take a little sip here. Move this out of the way over here. And begin with our first one. Now, if you've been watching me, for those that are faithful enough to tune in, you know that I love a Negroni. And I have done a spot or 2 on a Negroni. But tonight, I'm going to share with you a little wrinkle on that Negroni in a Negroni that I was able to get at a restaurant here in the city. So I'm going to start with this glass. I've already pre-poured or preloaded the ice here. And I forgot my measuring cup, so we're just going to kind of wing it here. You need a pour of Campari, of sweet vermouth, just like you do on the Negroni. We'll try to keep this 1 to 1 to 1. Pour of the Campari, which, as you know, the main ingredients in a Negroni are your Campari and your sweet vermouth. And I always recommend the Carpano Antica formula. Now, I do want to talk about the third ingredient, which is what makes this Negroni a little bit different. This Negroni, and if you look on the internet for rhubarb Negronis, there's all these formulas for making a rhubarb bitter and this and that and the other thing. And I can tell you, rhubarb is not easy to find. I had to go onto the internet to find this bottle of rhubarb gin made in Ireland. It's called Ha'penny. It's one of the few gins that already have the rhubarb in it. So it puts the 2 together. When you see a lot of the recipes on the internet for a rhubarb Negroni, they're going to ask you to make your own rhubarb bitters. And you can find them out there, and I've had it that way, but it's not the same as having the rhubarb infused into your gin. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pour equal part of the gin. And I do recommend you have your measuring cup. I just realized I forgot to put that here. So we'll just let that rest. So let's take it up. You can add rhubarb bitters if you want. I'm not going to in this recipe. because it already has the rhubarb in the gin. And I will confess that the rhubarb that I had, the rhubarb gin that I had, was not the one that I found here. I was unable to find the one that I found at the restaurant. But look at that wonderful color. It's recommended as a nice spring type drink. They even say you can possibly add a little strawberry to it. I haven't done that. What a wonderful twist on your normal Negroni. This Ha'penny from Ireland, it comes from Dublin, and it's only 40%, so it's not a real overpowering gin, but it's got juniper, rhubarb, blackberries, dandelion, lime, geranium leaf, and a whole lot of other botanicals, coriander, white grapefruit, angelica, all the things that you will find in typical gins, except this is also infused with rhubarb. So you can see the wonderful color. You have to like rhubarb, let's be clear. I happen to like it. It doesn't really overpower you. The Campari kind of settles down the rhubarb if you don't like that rhubarb flavor. If you've had rhubarb pie or rhubarb in your cuisine, you know what it tastes like. This is an excellent twist on the Negroni. Cheers. Now, let's set that aside. Let that marinate a little bit. The second drink that I want to share with you tonight, this is cocktail number 2 since I missed you all in May. This cocktail is one that I'm stealing. There's no originality here. And I think the cocktail maker who put this together, the mixologist, made a pretty neat drink. My wife loved it. It's not one of my favorites, but I would drink it because it has some ingredients in that I really like. And it actually has a splash of wine in it, so it adds a little bit of nuance to it that you don't get in a lot of cocktails. The name of the cocktail, as we found it, is called the High Plains Drifter. And in this High Plains Drifter are gin, just a plain gin. Basically, it should be a very light and London dry style gin, which means it's not big and bad like some of the gins that are out there. They get a little bit funky. You want a real smooth gin. It has the elderflower, the Saint Germain. I recommend that. You can use whatever elderflower you want. If it is elderflower, I'm using Saint Germain. And it also has a little bit of lemon juice in, and then you top it off with a little bit of a Sauvignon Blanc, believe it or not. So that's what we're going to do. And again, I apologize. I'm serving this to my wife after this spot's over. She's not going to care. So the ratios are this. I made my own 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of elderflower, a half an ounce of lime juice, and then you just top it off to your delight with the Sauvignon Blanc. So that's what we're going to do here. We'll pretend this cap is a half a shot. So we'll put 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 4 of those. So we're good there. And this gin happens to be Martin Miller's gin. It's made in England and it uses water from Iceland, believe it or not. All I can tell you is it is the perfect martini gin. It is so smooth, no burn, very smooth. So we'll set that down. And of course, we've got our Saint Germain. You've seen me use that a number of times here. We'll just go with the cap full here as well, because you don't need a lot of that in this drink. So we'll do that. And then we'll do a splash of lemon juice. This is what you call riffing. And then we've got everything in there. We'll shake. Now this is a pre-chilled glass, but normally for me, I love to have my cocktails in an iced glass, not just cold, iced. I don't like to put ice in my cocktails unless the cocktail actually calls for it. And neither one of these calls for any ice necessarily. This doesn't even really need to be strained, but I want to keep the ice cubes in there. So there you have it. You can see it's just very clear. The lemon juice gives it that little bit of lemonade look to it. And then for topping it off, I have a California Sauvignon Blanc, one of our favorites, Stoltman. You can vary the recipe if you want to try a New Zealand style Sauvignon Blanc. We tried this one last night. Pour it on there. Stir it up. Best stirrer in the business. Very nice, very mild. Packs a little bit of a wallop. It's got a little bit of wine, a little bit of gin, a little bit of Saint Germain. It's a fantastic drink. The High Plains Drifter. Let me repeat again. Sauvignon Blanc top off, 2 ounces of gin, ounce of Saint Germain, half an ounce or so of lemon juice to taste. Shake it, put it in a nice coupe glass like you see here. Top it off with some Sauvignon Blanc, and you can even throw a little lemon wedge in it, which we did not. My wife didn't really want that, so we didn't experiment with it that way. So there you have it. 2 cocktails. Doc G is back in business. I don't know which one of these I want to sip, so I'm going to sip my Spanish Cava. Stay tuned for more episodes. I'm back in business. See you soon.